Hello and welcome to my first YouTube video. I've had this channel for a little while now and I've made shorts in the past, but this is my first full-length YouTube video. I'm not sure what this will end up turning into, but I really like art vlogging. I like content creation, and if I can share my art in, doing content creation, I think that would just be a fun hobby. So today I'll take you through my painting process and also just kind of sharing my thoughts with art in general. Which, speaking of, I have kind of been in an art block. I just recently was getting out of it. I normally do digital art. A lot of painting and drawing was more self-taught. It was more of a hobby on the side. But I usually do more digital pieces, and I was so stuck. And for the longest time, just like didn't really want to make art. I didn't want to do much related to art, especially digital art. But it's the one thing that I went to school for that. So I would like to find a career in that. But painting and going back into my content creation helped spark that creative flow again, so I'm not stuck in like an artist block. I don't know what it is. I feel like with painting and drawing, I just get into such a flow state, and I love sharing my art, and I love video editing too. So I feel like when I get into those as like a fun hobby, it just helps kind of take me out of that funk. I get into a flow state and nothing is really bothering me, and it's so easy for me just to kind of just do whatever. I don't sit and think about what it is that I want to paint for so long. It's easy for me to just find a reference photo or think of something in my head and just start. So this has been kind of helping me get out of that creative block, and it's been very nice. It's also been kind of helpful because it's kind of helping me find a direction of like what it is that I want to do with my art. It's such a big part of me that I would love it to end up being a career, and that's definitely the route that I would be going down. But your 20s are full of you trying so many different things and figuring out what sticks and what doesn't. And I think I'm at that point where I'm seeing what is sticking to the wall now, and kind of running with that. And for this painting, it is something a little bit out of like what I normally do. This is more nature, landscape. Usually I like to go for stuff that is so surreal and doesn't really make sense. When you look at it, it's probably loud, lots of colors, bold lines, really whatever is just going on in my head. But this piece is really calm. And I think I wanted to, one, challenge myself because I've never done, landscape piece. Or like nature pieces really. And two, I've just been missing home. And I'm from, the Midwest, and there's a lot of open land and nature, and I've just been really missing it. I haven't been back in a while. So something about this piece was just like calming. What I am doing here is I am setting up like a background color. I forgot the actual name for it of what painters do with their pieces, but we don't start with just a white background. We usually set up like a background color, and it's usually just a light color like this. So I'll just take the acrylic and really mix it with a lot of water. And you can kind of see it dripping down the canvas now. For me, it doesn't really need to look perfect. As long as it's thin and, covers the entire canvas, then I'm pretty satisfied and, can start painting over it. If I haven't already drawn out my subject or the piece that I am painting, I will take a small brush like this and draw out my subject, or just draw a horizon line, basically just kind of mapping out my piece, seeing where things are going to be located. Normally you would draw your subject beforehand, but once you kind of learn the rules, you can break them, in my opinion. So yeah, now I got that done, and I'll be going ahead and starting with the sky. I usually start with like the base background colors for my subjects, and the sky was one of them. You'll notice that I need to make two different colors for the sky. If you look at a normal sky, you can usually see that it is not just one color throughout. It is not just blue. Sometimes it will have a variation of like a lighter blue or a darker blue, depending on where you're looking, what time of day it is, what the weather is. It all changes. And I think that's what I like about painting, even drawing too, because with art, it isn't always just lines. If you look at most pieces, a lot of it is just noticing where colors are and putting them where they belong. And that's why it's more than just a pretty picture or a pretty piece. A lot of good pieces that you will see have a level of value to them. Color theory, composition, design, there's a lot more that goes into it aside from just making things look good. So now at this point, my sky is basically done. Right now I'm just blending the last few colors and going in with clouds. This was my least favorite part. I don't usually paint clouds, so it was hard for me to understand the shapes and the location of it as well. I feel this would have gotten a lot better had I mapped out where the clouds were. You can see here it's looking choppy, and I don't like this at all. I kept telling my partner how much I hated the clouds. They thought it was amazing. I did not. I am not very happy with these clouds, but it comes out okay. It comes out just fine, you know. And I had a learning experience, and next time doing clouds, I will approach it very, very differently. And these clouds were especially hard because there was a lot of color variation here, and there was a lot of variation in the size and the opacity of the clouds. It was very mixed, so it was very hard to kind of keep up, if that makes sense. But the clouds are looking good. I kind of got them to a point where I thought I was satisfied with it and decided to move on to the grass. This piece, and just painting in general, has really been teaching me patience and the importance of being gentle, but also knowing how much pressure you can put behind your brush with, you know, a certain amount of paint that you have on it. So it's been something that I've been learning. I used to be a lot better at it growing up, but since I had gotten into digital art for so long, it's been something that I've been kind of relearning. But it just kind of goes to show that there's a lot more that art can teach anybody than simply how to make something look good and, you know, the design basics. It can also teach you a lot of good values that you can carry on into life. I think one of the major values, or maybe not values, just something that it can teach you, is how to be observant. I feel, especially in this day and age where everyone is just so stuck to their phones and looking for that fast dopamine hit, we don't really stay observant in our day-to-day lives. We lose a sense of mindfulness. And with art, you really do have to be observant. You have to be observant of color, design, where things are, how things actually look in person. There's a lot that you will miss out on if you do not remain observant and mindful. I was really wanting to get this painting done in one go, but actually doing more days worked out well because I need to stop at the art store and grab some palette paper. It's this waxy paper that you can use and put your paints on, and it's you can throw it away afterwards. You don't have to wash a palette every single time, and it's just so helpful. It's so nice. I had a professor show it to me once, and I've been stuck on it ever since. Aside from needing art supplies, I feel that it's really good to just step away in general. When we get so stuck working on a piece, it's easy for us to just get tunnel vision, and we don't see the bigger picture of it. So stepping away sometimes is really helpful because it will just show you things that you weren't seeing before. It might show you things that are looking really good or things that aren't looking very good. And definitely stepping away has helped me readjust and see where I need to be putting things, what I should be doing, how to approach the painting again. And it was overall an easier experience the second go around. even though the second time was much easier to approach, I do feel this is where the painting got to be a little bit more tedious, because now I'm having to go in and put in the trees and everything, and they definitely didn't look perfect to me, and the grass especially. This is something I think I had always struggled with, is that when you look in nature and see trees or grass and trying to draw it or paint it in general, it's so intimidating because there's so many pieces there that you don't know, how am I going to capture all of this, or how am I going to paint every single blade of grass, which is what you can kind of see me trying to do here. But I quickly realized that you don't necessarily need to do that. I decided I was going to take one of my other brushes and just kind of paint the darker strands that I would see, and then use one of my other brushes to go through and paint like the lighter dots that you might see in there, and really just do what I said in the beginning and put color where I see it. I don't think I had ever used this kind of brush before, and it came in so handy. It had the perfect strokes on it for it to look like a field of grass for me, and I had so much fun with this. It made it a lot easier, and I was able to go through and really just put the color where I thought I had seen it, and it started to look more natural, if anything, and I was really enjoying just placing it all over the place. I did kind of see some spots that the color just didn't look right, so I went ahead and filled in where I thought the color should be. But overall, everything ended up coming out pretty okay for being my first nature painting. And I went ahead and, finished up the tiny details, but it came out pretty good in my opinion. If you made it to the end of this video, I did want to say thank you. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, leave a comment. I would actually love to hear everyone's thoughts. Have a good day or evening, and don't forget to stay mindful.